Hey, it's Arcsecond. In this video, I'll cover the 7.13 patch notes and how it affects tier lists. First off, we have the honor update. Now, after every game, you'll be able to honor one teammate, and receiving honor will allow you to collect in-game rewards. I think this could definitely incentivize players to behave better and should improve the game quality. So I think this is definitely improvement over the last system, and I'm looking forward to it. Moving on to champions, we have Galio. Galio is being played successfully top and mid right now. For top, we have him S tier. They're nerfing his armor, the base armor, by 3. They're nerfing his Q, which could be big if he's no longer able to clear the range creeps as quickly. That'll be a big nerf to Galio. They're nerfing the base damage by 35 and increasing the AP ratio. The AP ratio doesn't matter too much, especially with the Doran's ring changes. So I think this is a pretty big nerf. It'll still depend. If you can clear at level 9, it won't be too bad. And then they're increasing the channel time on R by a little. Galio will still be one of the better tanks, but with some of the other top lane champions, Chansey's down to 8 tier now. Moving on to Gnar. Gnar's starting to see some play, and with these changes, I think he'll definitely be S tier. They're increasing his Q by 40 at max rank, and increasing his Mega E jump range by 125. Those are some good changes. I think Gnar will be S tier next patch. So moving on to Kenan, another top laner, another strong top laner. We have him at S tier. This is mostly for AD Kenan though. With Kenan, you have the 2 variants. But now they're increasing his AP build. His AP Kenan was nerfed a while ago with the old changes. So now they're increasing the EAP ratio by 0.2. And this will allow him to clear waves a lot better. It's still risky. Normally he still has to clear second. And then they're increasing, or adding the AP ratio and changing it from total attack damage to bonus attack damage. On the AD Kenan, you'll build too much bonus attack damage. I think this will still be a decent nerf, but you don't use it too often, and then Hurricane no longer stacks the W. I think this decent nerf for AD Kenan might still not be too bad. Both variants, AP and AD Kenan, could be S tier. I think we might keep them there. Yeah, some version of Kenan is probably good right now, or will be good. Moving on to Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is pretty good right now. They're changing his Q damage from, or nerfing the base damage by 10, and nerfing the ratio, the bonus attack damage ratio by 0.1, but increasing the isolation damage. Kind of like this, they're forcing him towards going for those isolated targets. This also gives the enemy players more counterplay, which they're looking for when playing against assassins. The R is receiving a flat buff though. The R invisibility duration is going up by 0.25. Nice buff. I still don't, and they're increasing the evolved buff, but I still don't think you'll evolve R on Kha'Zix, and the other evolutions are pretty strong. This is overall, it's almost a flat change. Still won't hurt his early clear a little, but I'll only keep him in a similar spot. I think Kha'Zix will still be fine, not bad. Moving on to Kindred, another jungler. We have, they're changing from passive, so now after, or every 3 stacks thereafter, she'll gain an extra 25 range. This will happen later on to the game. They're also increasing scaling on W with more stacks. These changes are good and generally won't help or make a champion too competitive the later the scaling happens. But E's being buffed by a 20 flat, and this will happen early. So this change is good. Overall, not bad changes. Still don't know if Kindred's quite there yet. Getting close, but I think these changes might take effect a little too late to compete with some of the other junglers early right now. Maokai is still receiving some changes. I think they're trying to push him back into that tanky top lane role. Base health is being increased. This will help support and top lane Maokai evenly. Same with this R change. So range is increased by 500, not bad, and the cooldown will go down at later ranks. This is better for top lane Maokai. You'll get those levels a little earlier. Not too bad. Nothing that pushes them into that S tier for top though. And Poppy, another tank. We have an A tier. 1% is not bad, but probably not enough. Yeah, the tanks aren't quite as good as some of the carries right now in the meta. I think Poppy will still be A tier. Moving on to Rek'Sai. So Rek'Sai did become S tier pretty popular this patch. on 7.12, and now she's receiving some quality of life changes with Q and W, where you can now, the W is standard, or standardized, so now it's always the same delay. And then Void Rush is being buffed by 0.25 bonus attack damage ratio. Nice change. It doesn't actually change too much with how she's played, and it's not the biggest damage increase, but it's still nice. This will just solidify Rek'Sai at that S tier slot. Moving on to Shaco. Shaco we haven't seen as much after the nerfs, but they're changing the base damage from E. They're doing quite a few changes to the E. So the base damage is up, but now it's bonus attack damage ratio instead of total attack damage ratio. So this is a slight nerf early. The damage type has changed. This will be a nerf early game. Make it easier to itemize, but now there's a good chance he might be building less Whisper, even maybe Black Cleaver. And then now that you will deal 50% additional damage based on the target's missing health. That's a nice change. Turns him more into an assassin. Only thing, I think the Titanic Hydra build might still be, or was best for Shaco. I thought that build was pretty strong. And this will probably force him to build heavier AD items. So I think overall, he'll still be in a similar position. But I kind of like the direction they're going with Shaco. Moving on to Trundle. Trundle is now able to chomp turrets, and will have the consistent timing. I'll scale with the attack speed. And then W is now always granting the 25 healing regeneration. Not too bad of changes. Still fairly small. I think he'll still be A. For Xayah actually got pushed out of the ADC meta. There are a lot of ADCs. The Q change was fairly big. Now we'll scale down with attack speed, really nice. This could push her back into S tier. I think there's a chance it does. With Jhin, yeah, last patch didn't take much to push him back in. I think there could be a similar situation with Xayah here. Oh. There we go. I'm actually not up to that coding for that one. And then the RAM is changed. So Abyssal Mass is being changed. I think this looks pretty good. Health is up by 50. Health is harder to build now. 300 mana, and you only lose 10 MR. Now it's pretty easy to get build or stack up a lot of MR. There's also Adaptive Helm. And there's still Spirit Visage. And then you also have the Eternity passive. I think these changes are pretty good for some champions. Abyssal Massive was becoming fairly popular. I think it'll still be good on some other champions, and adding the mana, so because of the Dorn's change they did. So now you might be able to rush this item a lot better. I think it'll be pretty efficient on some of the tanks. I think that's not bad for the item. Depth of Helm just gaining some health. I'm not sure if this item, it's still a situational item. It is being built some. Still not sure how good it is. Ancient Coin. Extra gold and some extra mana. Not bad. Coin is still probably the least utilized. A lot of the melee supports are being played right now. Changing the jungle items. More base mana regen in the jungle, and they're fixing Runic Echoes to even it out. Bomby Cinder is being changed. Less health by quite a bit. Will deal extra damage and it's cheaper. I think this one also for Cinder, we'll get them together. Health is down by 75, a little less, and then, but you'll have a 5% extra health multiplier, so that's good, and it's cheaper as well. It being cheaper is really nice for tanks, since they normally scale harder than some of the other carries in the jungle. And then you have the extra mana regen. Not sure if we'll still see this be built. Yeah, jungle meta with warrior. And a lot of champions would have like high base attack damage ratios like Rek'Sai. I'm not sure if we'll see more Cinderella junglers, but it might be good for like Zac, who's being played. Could or change, might affect Gragas too. I'll have to see. Oh, this should be good for Olaf too. Alright, moving on to Rift Herald. This affects both teams. The ward's now up to 100 gold. That's not bad. I'll be bigger incentivized to get it, or incentive to get it early, since you'll have that extra 100 gold. The enemy team will get the gold later after they kill it, if they're able to. And then you're less likely to get it. So this isn't bad. It's actually probably buff to Rift. 15 game modes, and then bug fixes, and then we have the SKT skins. But I think that just about covers it. Looking forward to this patch, and thank you so much for watching.